Between abrupt mountains and compressed valleys, Switzerland reveals a brutal landscape where unstable slopes, dense fog, and cold rivers shape a rigid territory. Here, animals face constant risks, direct disputes, and pressures that force them to react without hesitation. Nature's drama is immediate, with sudden changes that alter the balance. Visible and invisible dangers that advance without pause, creating a tense atmosphere in which every second traces the final limit of endurance. Between this raw beauty and constant danger, only the most resilient endure the relentless rhythm of nature. Here, every moment is a decision. Every movement is survival. Welcome to wild Switzerland. The Swiss landscape combines extensive mountain ranges, deep valleys, and rocky inclines that form a rigid environment. Elevations range from low slopes to exposed peaks, influencing temperature, humidity, and air circulation. Vegetation distributes itself in distinct bands, creating zones of moss, alpine shrubs, and coniferous forests. Glacial rivers cross narrow gorges, moving cold water that feeds various microregions. Natural lakes accumulate sediments and nutrients, supporting specific aquatic plants. At mid-altitudes, dense forests regulate water infiltration, shade, and local temperature. Open slopes offer shallow soil, subject to erosion and landslides, constantly altering the terrain. The sum of these factors establishes an unstable and demanding environment where each resource is unevenly distributed. Among these variations of altitude and dense forests emerges one of the region's most adaptable carnivores. The grey wolf. The grey wolf operates in Switzerland's mountainous zones as a highly organized social hunter, using objective communication through body postures and quick responses to maintain cohesion among individuals. Its routes follow slopes, clearings, and stretches of dense forest, where it evaluates scents, trails, and movements in the ground to locate prey. In mid-altitude environments, The cold wind exposes dispersed odors and forces the animal to adjust direction and pace. In narrower valleys, the acoustics favor short sounds, allowing members of the group to keep controlled distance without losing contact. Each individual contributes to territorial vigilance, alternating positions and observing changes in the terrain that indicate the movement of other animals. An adult wolf uses muscular strength and prolonged endurance to overcome long daytime walks, taking advantage of tree shade and rock irregularities to conceal its silhouette during approaches. In areas with narrow rivers, it assesses depth and water speed before crossing, avoiding unstable sections. During spring, the availability of small ungulates and rodents increases, requiring quick decisions to seize opportunities without risk of injury. The anatomy of its paws facilitates grip on loose gravel terrain, reducing slips on slopes. In contrast, thick fur provides thermal insulation that prevents rapid heat loss, an essential resource in shaded and humid zones. The social structure maintains internal balance, ensuring that young individuals learn techniques of terrain reading, approach reactions, and safe limits. In some regions, different packs cross paths, creating spatial tension and the need to reinforce scent markings to avoid direct conflicts. Prey encountered in these mountains vary according to altitude, and the wolf adjusts its approach strategies depending on vegetation density. In open fields, it uses a low profile and calculated movements. In dense forests, it relies on silence, short pauses, and constant reorientation. When it finds tracks of large herbivores, it observes distance, direction, and frequency of footprints to understand the rhythm and condition of the group being monitored. The survival of the grey wolf depends on precise decisions, efficient reading of the environment, and social coordination, indispensable elements for facing an unstable territory like the Alps. Collective behavior reduces risks of accidents in steep terrain and increases efficiency in navigating the mountains. This combination of organization, physical strength, and sharp perception sustains its continued presence in Switzerland's ecosystems. Above the zones traversed by the wolf, Open hills give way to cold, rocky alpine fields, where small diurnal mammals emerge from deep burrows, the typical territory of the alpine marmot. The alpine marmot occupies elevated regions where shallow soil, short vegetation, and wind exposure form a rigid environment predictable only to those with specific adaptations. Its routine depends on temperature variation and sunlight, factors that determine the ideal moment to leave underground galleries. These structures are extensive, with multiple chambers functioning as thermal protection and refuge from animals that roam the slopes. The marmot uses the inclined terrain to observe its surroundings, identifying movements of birds, carnivores, and other animals crossing the hills. Its diet is based on grasses, shoots, and leaves, analyzing each section before approaching to avoid overly exposed areas. During body warming, it remains still for short periods, adjusting to the thermal contrast characteristic of high altitudes. On colder days, it reduces movement and seeks shelter earlier, avoiding excessive energy loss. When larger groups gather, individuals maintain specific distances to facilitate communication through short whistles used as immediate alerts. This objective communication enables quick response to threats detected in distant parts of the valley. Moves efficiently among rocks, using short claws for firm support on uneven surfaces. Dense fur acts as natural insulation, preventing abrupt temperature changes. During the reproductive period, activity increases, and adults monitor burrow entrances to regulate internal circulation. Young marmots learn to recognize subtle changes in wind and light, essential factors for anticipating risks. On the edges of hills, the marmot identifies more nutritious plants and reviews return routes to avoid dead ends where the terrain might hinder escape. When encountering other herbivores, it keeps distance and maintains predictable routines. The rhythm of marmots follows the stability of daylight conditions, maximizing sun warmth and avoiding prolonged shadows that lower body temperature. Despite being simple, the social structure requires precise spatial organization, ensuring no burrow is accessed without prior recognition of the surrounding terrain. The continuous presence of marmots in alpine areas demonstrates strict adaptation to an environment where any misstep results in prolonged exposure. Their survival depends on constant terrain reading, collective vigilance and energy conservation, factors that sustain their presence in Switzerland's mountains. Descending from these cold hills toward wet plains and wide lakes, large birds emerge that use water as their main route, an environment dominated by the mute swan. The mute swan occupies Switzerland's wide lakes, regions where variable depth, water transparency, and the presence of submerged plants define its daily routine. Its aquatic routes follow shorelines rich in vegetation, where it finds food and protection from wind-driven turbulence. The robust body allows precise maneuvers, maintaining stability even in sections of moderate current. Wing musculature supports long takeoffs, requiring wide space and stable water surface for propulsion. Its diet is based on shoots, roots, and algae, collected through controlled neck movements, adjusting depth according to water clarity. During periods of greater daytime activity, the swan regulates its time between foraging and resting near shallow banks, monitoring other birds' approaches. Visual communication plays a central role, with postures indicating alertness, rest, or territorial defense. Paired individuals establish synchronized routines, alternating vigilance and food search. During breeding seasons, they build nests along the shore using plant material found in flooded areas. The choice of nest site considers water variation and natural vegetation protection. Young swans learn to swim by following adults, observing responses to noises, shadows, and unexpected movements. The swan remains attentive to species sharing the lake, evaluating distance and direction to avoid conflicts. During longer displacements, it observes currents and adjusts direction to conserve energy. Its white plumage provides efficient thermal insulation, allowing prolonged stays in cold alpine waters. The strong bill enables removal of plants stuck to rocks and sediments. In more open areas, vigilance increases as larger birds may cross the territory in search of resting spots. The swan reacts with calculated movements, maintaining safe distance and controlling access near the nest. In deeper areas, it prefers slow swimming, analyzing the surface and underwater environment. Controlled breathing aids adaptation to lake rhythm, especially in lower temperatures. Its presence in these environments demonstrates high capacity for water reading, spatial understanding, and energy management in situations of daily climatic variation. The mute swan is one of the most influential organisms in alpine lakes, regulating submerged vegetation, maintaining balance among aquatic species, and occupying a central role in Switzerland's water dynamics. Advancing beyond lake margins toward the humid forests that surround open zones emerges an agile ungulate that uses clearings and wooded stretches to move with precision: the roe deer. The roe deer occupies Switzerland's humid forests and clearings, where dense vegetation, light variation, and irregular terrain demand constant attention. Its light body structure favors quick movements among trunks, roots, and low shrub sections. During the daytime, it alternates moments of feeding with observation pauses, evaluating sounds, scents, and movements of other animals that circulate along forest edges. Its diet includes shoots, leaves, and fruits available according to the season, requiring moderate movement between feeding points. The roe deer uses sensitive hearing to detect nearby presence, adjusting its route whenever it detects ground vibrations or noises from dense areas. Smell plays a central role in path selection, helping identify natural markers left by other individuals. On inclined slopes, it adjusts paw position to maintain balance, reducing risks of falls or sprains. In more open areas, it maintains upright posture and slow movements to detect vegetation changes that may indicate carnivore presence. In spring and summer, activity increases and males evaluate territories by observing trunks and branches used as reference points. This behavior ensures adequate spacing between individuals, avoiding unnecessary encounters. Females move carefully during the reproductive period, choosing regions with tall vegetation for better cover. Young deer learn to respond quickly to visual stimuli, especially light variations caused by leaf movement. The roe deer uses natural corridors formed by trails of larger animals, facilitating movement without prolonged exposure. Its coat changes throughout the year, adapting to the environment to regulate temperature and improve camouflage. Constant circulation in the understory contributes to vegetation renewal by dispersing seeds and consuming young plant parts. In areas near rivers, the roe deer observes current and depth before approaching water. During the hottest hours, it reduces activity and stays in shaded areas to conserve energy. Defensive behavior includes quick retreats and abrupt direction changes, an effective strategy for avoiding short-distance chases. Its permanence in Swiss forests depends on sharp sensory perception, spatial memory, and the ability to identify safe areas within a variable environment. The dynamics of its territory are influenced by fallen trees, new clearing openings, and seasonal vegetation growth, elements that shape its routes throughout the year. Moving from dense forests toward humid zones near streams and creek beds. A small amphibian with intense colors appears among wet stones and logs, the fire salamander. The fire salamander inhabits humid forest sections in Switzerland, where soaked soil, constant canopy shade, and the presence of streams create ideal conditions for its sensitive skin. Its routine depends directly on humidity, which keeps the body hydrated and functional. It moves slowly over leaves, moss, and logs, analyzing surfaces before advancing. Cutaneous respiration requires constant contact with cool environments, leading it to remain near running water, shallow pools, or shaded areas with accumulated plant debris. During the reproductive period, females deposit larvae in calm sections of streams where the gentle current facilitates oxygenation. The larvae use micro-hiding spots among gravel to avoid exposure. Adult salamanders display contrasting coloration functioning as a chemical warning to potential aggressors, reducing risk of direct attacks. Their diet includes small invertebrates found under stones and logs, captured through quick head movements. On warmer days, they stay on cool substrates to avoid dehydration. When moving through humid slopes, they use the tail as support to stabilize the body on inclined surfaces. Chemical perception guides food search and identification of other individuals. Their skin releases defensive substances, discouraging contact by larger animals. Young salamanders travel short distances until finding stable, humid areas. In regions where fallen logs accumulate water, the salamander finds shelter and abundant food. Flexible body structure allows entry into narrow crevices, protecting against abrupt temperature changes. During the most active daytime periods, it alternates movement with long pauses to maintain water balance. Its life cycle depends on stream integrity, whose clear, oxygen-rich water ensures proper larval development. Along stream banks, it examines sediments and micro-invertebrates, indicating water quality. The fire salamander plays an important role in controlling small arthropod populations and in integrating the food chain of humid environments. Its constant presence reveals ecological stability in these forest sections, reinforcing the importance of well-drained, shaded areas rich in microhabitats. The survival of the fire salamander is tied to the ability to locate safe, humid points, explore narrow crevices, and balance hydration with feeding in an environment subject to daily variations. Moving to drier zones at forest edges, where illuminated clearings appear among spaced trunks, a bird with active behavior stands out for its quick movement and constant search for insects. The Eurasian hoopoe. The Eurasian hoopoe uses forest edges, illuminated clearings, and dry areas with loose soil to perform its daily routine. Its long, narrow bill allows it to reach insects in soil crevices, logs, and branches. It observes the terrain with quick head movements, assessing vibrations and movements of small arthropods to select foraging points. In more open environments, it alternates short displacements with brief pauses, maintaining upright posture to identify movements around it. Its flight is characterized by irregular wing beats, facilitating direction changes while moving among shrubs and medium-sized trees. The hoopoe uses natural cavities or tree hollows for nesting, choosing locations protected from drafts and strong temperature variations. During reproduction, adults frequently visit the nest, bringing food to the young, who learn to react to sound and visual stimuli while still inside the cavity. Short, repetitive vocalizations function as signals of presence and coordination among individuals, facilitating territorial identification. In soft soil areas, it digs shallowly with the bill to expose buried larvae and insects. Its plumage displays contrasting coloration, useful for visual communication among adults during quick interactions. In the presence of larger birds, it adopts a low posture and lateral movements to avoid direct confrontations. The crest feathers, which can be raised, are used for signaling, aiding in recognition among individuals. The Eurasian hoopoe also inspects fallen logs, exploring crevices where insects accumulate. On hot days, it seeks partial shade to regulate body temperature, alternating activity with rest. Its agility allows movement across thin branches without losing balance. Its varied diet includes larvae, ants, beetles, and small invertebrates found in dry environments. While exploring clearings, it analyzes vegetation changes to identify areas with higher food concentration. Young hoopoes learn foraging techniques by observing adults, replicating digging and capture movements. In wider regions, the hoopoe performs short flights to transition between feeding areas. Its presence at forest edges contributes to insect population control, influencing the ecological dynamics of these environments. The survival of the Eurasian hoopoe depends on efficient food search, the choice of safe cavities, and adaptation to the vegetation mosaic that characterizes transitions between forest and open areas. Wild Switzerland reveals distinct environments that sustain organisms adapted to diverse conditions. Cold mountains, compact forests, extensive lakes, and open fields form a set of interconnected systems in which each animal responds to specific challenges. Observing these territories shows how structure, behavior, and physiology ensure permanence in complex scenarios. From the wolf to the small invertebrates consumed by the hoopoe, relationships emerge that maintain ecological stability and demonstrate the relevance of each organism. This diversity explains the resilience of the Swiss environment and reinforces the importance of understanding every detail to interpret the functioning of wildlife in its most direct state. If you felt the power of this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories of wild nature. See you next time.